In 1916, the influential essayist Benjamin de Caceres opined, "In the sublime war of man against reality, man has but one weapon, the imagination." And now, over a century later, the maxim still holds true. Except nowadays I don't have to go through the hassle of imagining anything on my own anymore, thanks to video games. Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. Video games allow us to experience the fantasies of our wildest dreams, from bloody revenge quests based in Greek mythology, galaxy-spanning space operas set thousands of years into the future, to the greatest fantasy of all, owning a house. If you haven't already guessed, I've been playing Nintendo's millennial pipe dream simulator, Animal Crossing. The series revolves around moving to a quaint little town and befriending your neighbors as you live out a virtual second life. It's a wild concept to wrap your head around, I know, but that's not all. Unlike that creepy other Second Life game, Animal Crossing is inhabited by actually cute anthropomorphic animals, rather than disturbed basement-dwelling furry weirdos. Better yet, these silly little critters are essentially programmed to be your best friend no matter what sociopathic outbursts you subject them to. Whack Bob over the head non-stop with a butterfly net after he decided to run up and chat with you while you were in a life-or-death battle with a tarantula? Sure, he'll eventually get mad, but it'll be water under the bridge come first thing tomorrow, as if it never happened at all. Dig a moat around Coco's house, trapping her inside so you don't have to see her soulless face around town? It'll be right as rain the following day, just the same. However, having the exact same canned conversations with your neighbors for the fourth time this week is only an ounce of the so-called fun contained within Animal Crossing. The real gameplay lies within building your own perfect home and furnishing it. You can decorate your bedroom with Egyptian hieroglyphic wallpaper, boxing ring flooring, a pirate powder keg barrel topped with a typewriter, a TV shaped like an apple, and a cold sleep pod straight out of Ridley Scott's Alien without a single complaint. Well, maybe except from Lyle at the Happy Room Academy, but who cares what that pretentious otter thinks anyway? There are only two things between you and your absolutely perfect, not at all gaudy bachelor pad: bells, the game's currency, and space. Therein lies the rub with Animal Crossing. There's no escaping from the realities of, well, reality, even in a virtual world. As soon as you start up a new game, you're introduced to the game's main antagonist, Tom Nook. This nefarious tanuki moves you into one of his miserable, rundown shacks, also known as luxury condos among San Franciscans, trapping you within a mortgage loan without even telling you the price until it's too late. Defenders of Tom Nook's autocracy might argue that the crafty tanuki never actually forces players to repay their loans, nor even charges interest. But this is nothing more than a cunning trap, one which lulls players into a false sense of security, letting them believe that they really don't need to pay off their loan yet, and can instead invest their hard-earned bells into whatever tacky knickknacks catch their eye at Nook's shop. But it only takes a few DJ turntables, spooky cauldrons, and indoor bamboo noodle slides before players' houses are too jammed full of junk to live in. Soon enough, they'll come running back, happily picking the fruits off every tree in town and fishing the rivers dry for days on end to pay off their loan, all just to get an even bigger house alongside an even bigger loan, courtesy of none other than that rascal raccoon. Then the process starts all over again. This is where Animal Crossing reveals its true colors. It isn't really an idyllic life simulator, but rather a carefully disguised critique on the vicious and ultimately pointless cycle of materialism, or more precisely, economic materialism. Is the valuing of money and possessions as the single most important thing in life? Or to those Gen Xers out there, following in Madonna's footsteps of being a material girl living in a material world. And the world of Animal Crossing is undoubtedly a material one. Everything from interacting with passing visitors, joining in on town events, to utterly revolting hobbies like bug catching, ultimately boil down in one way or another to either collecting stuff or earning bells to buy more stuff. Of course, you could just enjoy the quiet village life, but Tom Nook thought of that too. Who else do you think buries perfectly preserved fossils throughout the town, sends packages of furniture attached to balloons floating across the sky, or stuffs rocks full of thousands of bells every day? The same exact raccoon who sells the shovels and slingshots used to get them. That's who. To make matters worse, in the latest Animal Crossing game, New Horizons, players are forced to serve as the island's resident representative, where they're tasked with landscaping, bridge building, residential zoning, and urban planning, all out of their own pocket without a single bell of assistance in the way of community taxes. It's like living in a libertarian's dream, except you're the sap footing the bill to pave the roads. One way or another, Animal Crossing's deviously designed materialistic siren's call is destined to ensnare players in its avaricious talons, and once they're in deep. After all, who else does the burden weigh on to fill out the exhibits of the pathetically empty town museum but the player? Is your arbitrary island rating too low for the likes of Raymond? Better start all over and re-landscape the entire town if you want even a chance for His Highness to grace your island with his presence. Best not make any plans Saturday night for the rest of your life either, if you want to collect all of KK Slider's singles, even if they never sound anything like his bizarre live performances. What's that? Your best friend's wedding falls on the same day as the bug-off competition? Well, they better bug off until you've won that gold trophy to complete your insect set collection. It's clearly their fault for not scheduling better. This is how Animal Crossing reveals the true wickedness behind materialism. Its ultimate reversal, as the joy of gaining material wealth becomes a burden that its victims must ceaselessly pursue for the rest of their lives. Like a budding addiction, it starts out as a fun pastime that you can totally stop whenever, and definitely isn't a cause for concern, Mom. All the while, it slowly warps your life to completely revolve around collecting more and more stuff to receive constant shots of those brief, diminishing highs. And yet, no matter how many furniture sets you complete, it'll never be enough to make you happy. Take it from two-time Golden Globe, and even more impressively, six-time Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards winner Jim Carrey, who stated, "I think everybody should get rich and famous and everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that that's not the answer." Of course, as any unfortunate soul who has fallen victim to Animal Crossing's sham knows, breaking the cycle isn't as easy as, say, clicking off this video. Not that you should consider doing that. For you see, Animal Crossing trains players to play every single day. And, much like withdrawals, it punishes players for not getting their daily hit. Surely today the Able sisters will finally sell that royal crown you've always wanted. Or be the day you'll rake in the bells, thanks to a wild spike in the ever-turbulent turnip market. Plus, your so-called in-game friends won't lift a finger, flopper, hoof, paw, or wing to ensure the town doesn't become infested with weeds, but will move out in droves if you don't perpetually check in to pluck them. It's the old sunken cost fallacy. Sure, having a real social life might be nice, but you've already spent so much time getting your town just right. And those rare purple windflowers you spent weeks crossbreeding will wilt if you aren't around to water them. What's another day going to hurt? Fight Club's Tyler Durden said it best: the things you own end up owning you. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that someday we're all passing away, and we aren't taking any of our material or virtual possessions with us. Well, maybe unless you're a pharaoh or something, but I don't know about you, but I'm not too keen on having my brains pulled out of my nose to become a mummy, no matter what Anka tells me. Anyway, as the great philosopher Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the best Star Trek show, once said, "I'll never understand this obsession with accumulating material wealth. You spend your entire life plotting and scheming to acquire more and more possessions until your living areas are bursting with useless junk. Then you die, your relatives sell everything, and start the cycle all over again." Perhaps what Animal Crossing is really trying to tell us is to spend our valuable and ever-fleeting time on the things that really matter. Because the last thing you'll want to worry about on your deathbed is all the time you wasted on a town filled with a bunch of phony frauds and an over-decorated virtual house that no one will visit after you're dead. Animal Crossing, and by extension, materialism itself, is a fool's errand. An ultimately pointless, never-ending cycle of misery. Or, as War Games Joshua put it, a strange game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? Speaking of chess, did you know the game reveals a dark secret at the very heart of humanity? To find out more, check out our episode on the 1,000-year-old secret of chess. Keep watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And remember, never trust a tanuki.